Hiya, Tom.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
See, once again, when the beautiful British accent starts, I feel intimidated because it's obviously you're not only more handsome but more intelligent than all of us. Unless that's just a ruse.
That's not true. There's some strange conception.
Well, you're definitely more handsome.
No.
Take a look around the room.
Listen, I didn't shave, but other than that, Tom Hiddleston. Now, Tom, may I?
Yes, you may.
Right, I knew that you would
lovely.
The theme song from the film Midnight in Paris, where F. Scott Fitzgerald is, and I know that you're not here to talk about your past and everything, because the Avengers, please. But what a fantastic film.
Thank you so much.
And you were amazing in the movie, and you know, you have this English accent that I didn't realize.
I am an English actor. Yeah,
Well, that makes sense, yeah. But in that film, you played
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
a fine American.
The fine literary icon, I believe.
Very true.
It was my privilege, you know. It was one of the most exciting times of my life because
It's Woody Allen.
It's Woody Allen. I didn't meet him until I actually got on the set. And the crazy thing is, I was in Paris for 2 weeks, and in Paris when you walk around, there's all these it's such a cultured city. There's so many so many artists have lived there, and the city celebrates that. And as you walk down the street, outside so many of the tourist shops, there are posters for sale outside on the pavement, on the sidewalk, and they're basically pictures of icons. So you go through them, and there's Marilyn Monroe and James Dean and John Lennon, and behind John Lennon, 10, 20 of Woody Allen. And I was walking around Paris, listening to an audiobook of The Great Gatsby just to get my head into it.
Cool.
And then you go and stop off and have a coffee somewhere, and Woody's staring you down from a poster on the sidewalk, and then you think, I'm going to work with this man tomorrow.
Why would he not? Why would you not audition in front of Woody Allen? Why would you just get the job without meeting him first?
Maybe he's not the casting director.
Well,
You know nothing about the film industry.
apparently not. You'd think Woody'd be in on that.
He oftentimes he does that. I think he saw a reel of work that I'd done in England, and I've done lots of period stuff. I've often been cast in the 20s and 30s for some reason. Like one of the earliest things I did, I played Winston Churchill's son Randolph in a movie about.
Didn't you go to high school with him, Ron?
Winston Churchill?
No, his son.
It just amazes me how English actors like yourself can do such a perfect American accent.
What, does it amaze you when an American attempts to do an English accent and I come across sound like, "Hello, how are you? It's so good to see you."
Dick
That's
Van
very
Dyke.
good.
Oh, no,
That's
it's
one of
not.
the better ones I've heard.
Oh,
It's better than Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, let's face it. Now, I love Dick Van Dyke, but actually what you just did is better than what you did.
He was a chimney sweep, and
He was,
and that's a Cockney accent, right?
Yeah, but you kind of did a Cockney accent just then.
I did. I think I did a character from
Dick Van Dyke sure can dance, though.
He can. Now, listen, I grew up watching that film, so I say that with the fondest
So did I.
respect. But I should sort of, just to answer your question,
Please.
it's the interesting thing about that particular accent was that I listened to some tapes of real recordings from the 20s and 30s, and on the East Coast, a particular kind of educated American, with a particular kind of, I guess, how we in England. To our shame, we would call it class. Fitzgerald went to Princeton, and it was amazing. It's actually amazing how mid-Atlantic they sounded.
But back in those days, Kelly, didn't they speak somewhat like this? Didn't they? Americans always, for what
In England
reason,
they did.
They
In
didn't know
England.
Americans talk like that. No, it was more like
That's British people. That's David Niven.
How did we do it back in the?
Oh,
It's
when you're
Orson
trying to be a
Welles.
Mary, it's more their cadence, you see. It's not so much how they say it,
Right.
it's what they say.
Absolutely.
That's
And
the
I remember
point,
I remember watching Citizen Kane, and Orson Welles' first line is, "I don't know how to run a paper, Mr. Thatcher. I just try everything I can think of." And it's the way that everything just kind of rolls off the tongue.
Somewhat of a cadence. They spoke like this.
Yeah. God, that's kind of Jimmy Stewart you're doing there.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jimmy Stewart was what like.
Oh, Jimmy Stewart, yeah, Mr. Smith goes to Washington. No, that's not my job. I'm here. I'm doing my best.
Really, Tom Hiddleston, you're really a student of film.
I am a fanboy first and
That's
an actor
cool.
second. Yeah.
So you're living a dream right now.
I am living a dream. The people I've worked with in the last 12 months, 24 months has been just
All
extraordinary.
right, I'm looking at you right now, and I kick myself because I haven't seen Thor,
That's okay.
but I will, and because you put 50 pounds of muscle on. Where the hell is
50,
it? Okay,
20,
it says 50. I
20.
swear, if you go to Wikipedia, IMDb, all of them, it says you put
Okay.
on, and I've seen it on 3 different pages, that you put on 50 pounds to play Loki. Now,
To play Thor, actually.
I mean, Thor.
That's
Thor,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got a picture up on your computer
Yeah,
there.
man.
There you go. So I initially auditioned. I'm 6'2"
Right.
and blonde naturally, and so I
Wait,
was.
you just took my breath away. Okay, continue.
Me too.
so those were my credentials in a way to audition for the role of Thor.
Being
And
the big guy.
Yeah, the big guy. I mean, Thor is the god of thunder. He brings the hammer down on the earth and he creates the storm. And I knew Kenneth Branagh, who directed it. I knew him from the theatre. We worked in the theatre in London together. And so I kind of auditioned all the way to a screen test to play Thor. And they said, would you put on some, you have to look like the god of thunder. So would you, hit the gym and do your best. And so I went from 179 pounds to 199 pounds.
Okay,
was
so it's
just
not like you
20
went up to
pounds.
285 and we're like,
It didn't look like it wasn't WrestleMania.
But then you didn't get the job.
I didn't get the job, but what was so wonderful was that the producers, sort of halfway there, said, "Well, look, here are these 2 characters who are brothers, and they are cut. They're 2 halves of the same whole. They're 2 sides of the same coin. And Thor is kind of." He's the quarterback, someone who is the athlete. He has an innate nobility to him, an innate athleticism. And Loki is the artist. He's a little bit more complicated, more intelligent, more sort of sophisticated in a kind of in a more of an artistic way, basically. So, and they thought that was a better fit for me, and in a way that the film has changed my life, because it was after that I went and worked for Woody Allen and Steven Spielberg.
after that.
Yeah.
So
that
did you
was the
like being
first
a
one.
villain better than a hero?
Well, someone said the devil plays all the best tunes.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
It's more interesting to be the bad guy.
Well, I think just for an actor, because it's so just so complicated, and all the actors I grew up watching and respecting were always the bad guys. I grew up watching Jack Nicholson in Batman, and Alan Rickman is a great hero of mine. He's always done a great bad guy.
Oh, man. Die Hard, right?
Die Hard.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, yeah.
Did you ever see Alan Rickman in Bottle Shock?
I never did.
It's a fantastic movie about wine.
Wow.
And it's a story from the 1970s when American wine was not considered anything in the world. And this Alan Rickman's character went to California, found a Chardonnay, and brought the people back to the great wine contest and tastings in Paris, and they won it.
Amazing.
And if you like a period piece, it's really cool.
I will seek it out. Yeah.
Bottle Shock, yeah.
Bottle Shock.
How was it working with Kenneth Branagh? You mentioned him. I love that guy.
He's amazing. I've never met someone so passionate and professional and curious. He's just an extraordinary artist.
Most people know him as an actor, but he's also a very good director.
Well, what's interesting is that his kind of breakout was when he played Henry V, Shakespeare's Henry V, and he was nominated at the age of 27 for an Academy Award in both the acting category and the directing category. So he was nominated for Best Actor and Best Director because he directed himself.
So when you're directing yourself, is it like, okay, cut?
Must be.
The Avengers.
He actually said it. He said it was. He said the best thing about directing himself was he could also edit himself, which meant he could cut out all of the awful acting
Make
that
himself
he
look
was doing.
Well, The Avengers is going to be, and I think this is everybody's saying, the biggest movie of the year.
Well, it's a big movie, unquestionably.
Yeah, I mean, look at the cast.
The cast is amazing.
Let's just, amongst us girls here, Scarlett Johansson in person.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Such an amazing woman.
Nice.
In every respect. Yeah.
Woody loves her.
Woody loves her, and she is so grounded and so fun, and she was so nice to me because we filmed The Avengers out in Albuquerque in New Mexico.
Oh, really?
And Scarlett is one of those.
What a shame you got to go from Paris to Albuquerque.
No, I loved it actually. We went horse riding.
Oh,
It was
okay.
great. But Scarlett's one of those girls, and I don't know if this is a specifically gender thing, but she loves baking. Like, I would go around to her house, she'd be like, come over, she'd be like, and every time I went over there, she'd be like,
I think maybe that's a euphemism.
I've made
baking.
No, I promise you it isn't. She's like, I've made cookies, I've made brownies, I've made oatmeal cream pies. I tell you, she's one of the best bakers.
How does she keep that body?
She doesn't need it.
Oh.
She's pushing it on her fellow actors. That's why.
But she was great. She was really
And
just a
Samuel
very
L.
cool
Jackson, it sounds like, I think we've spoken to him on the phone. like he'd be a real character to hang around. Did you do any scenes with him?
He's the coolest man in the world.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I'm with you.
And he's such a pro, actually. He's one of the most professional actors I've ever worked with.
I mean, look at the cast. Robert Downey Jr., who's always considered like in the top 5 actors ever. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah, he's a firebrand. I mean, he's just his particular talent is like he's mercurial. You know, you never know what he's going to do next, and that's thrilling to be.
Are
up
these
against.
guys? You're like a trained actor. I mean, they're real deal. Are these guys method actors? Do they stay in character? You hear about some actors that, like Pacino, he'll be that guy and stay that guy throughout the whole movie.
Well, in a movie like Avengers, you kind of can't really do that.
That'd be weird. Yeah.
Because
Stand back!
everybody's wearing spandex and capes and cat
That
suits.
sounds like a weekend at your place with all the capes and spandex, Ron.
I don't know the guy's name, but I saw Captain America last year.
Oh, Chris Evans.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Not a household name, but a really good actor as well.
He's terrific.
And that was a neat idea for that movie. I'm glad that he's one of the Avengers this time.
Chris is fantastic. You know, it's one of the hardest characters in this movie to pull off because he's got this very vanilla kind of old-fashioned heroism, but everybody else is so charismatic and offbeat that actually when it comes to, you know, the end of the world, Captain America is the only person who really cares about it. And there's an incredible simplicity that Chris brings to the table at that moment.
So is that how the movie ends, with the end of the world?
Don't tell the ending.
I'm not going to, you know,
Marvel's
it's a
The
superhero.
Avengers.
It's a superhero film. They have to save the world.
I
That's the
should
whole
say that it starts
point.
Friday. Marvel's The Avengers, and we have Tom Hiddleston here. He's playing Loki, and
He's the bad guy. Just by
right.
the way.
We should
Yeah.
let people know that. Now, you're in a room, and you will be one of the most well-known actors very shortly. But let's face it, you aren't yet. And
I'm absolutely not.
But
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to say other than when you walk in the room, and like the other guy that plays Captain America, do you guys sit there and go, "That's Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson right over there"? Yeah, oh my God. And then you have to act like you're not a little bit intimidated. Samuel L. Jackson.
Absolutely. You know, it's all of us. I think were just stunned to be in the same room as the.
Good.
There were days when, there were very few days when actually the entire cast were together, and. That Joss Whedon, who wrote and directed the film, said that was the only day he had to use his school teacher voice because we'd all be it would all be kind of like, God, what is that costume made of? Is that tight? Is that a little too tight? You get sweaty in that thing. Like how's the Iron Man suit? Is that, you know? And people like Jeremy Renner picking up Thor's hammer and Robert Downey Jr. having a swing of the Captain America shield. You know, it was.
And you must be texting and your mates back home. I use mate because you're British.
Yeah.
And saying, you're not going to believe what I'm doing right now.
I literally spent 5 months pinching myself. I mean, I grew up watching these actors.
And we felt the same way one time when Robert Downey Jr. walked in here. I think that was the first time you and I just looked at each other and went, is this real? And
he's a rock star. I mean, he has just charisma.
I think Robert Downey Jr.
I'm sorry, Robert Duvall. Pardon my.
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall was sitting in the hallway and he walked in and we were just like, we're trying not to act like we're freaked out here, but you know,
it's Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing when you meet your heroes.
You see these people on the big screen, and then they're in real life, and I'm sure they have the same insecurities. Maybe Samuel L. Jackson doesn't have them, but
he doesn't actually.
Right.
I grew up watching that guy. Like I was a teenager when I saw, you know, when he kind of like had his
Pulp Fiction, right?
Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
and that's still one of the most electrifying film performances I think I've ever seen, when he plays Jules and his dialogue in that film was sort of entered the modern lexicon, you know, his reading of Ezekiel 25:17,
right,
all that stuff. And
well, once this Avengers happens, this is the trailer.
This is it.
You here with a mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the
That's
world?
Chris Evans.
Oh, okay.
Trying to save it.
There's Sam.
Doctor, we need you to come
There's
in.
Scott.
What if I say
Mark
no?
Ruffalo.
I'll persuade you.
Scarlet.
Scarlet.
What are you asking me to do?
That's Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Here comes Sam.
It's called the Avengers Initiative.
I thought I didn't qualify.
That's Robert Downey Jr.
Okay.
I'm, what is it? Volatile,
Where are you?
I'm coming.
All right.
self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
I start taunting Sam.
I think they need a timeout.
Here we go.
How desperate are you?
That's the Academy Award speech right there.
Did you call on such lost creatures to defend you?
So nasty.
So cool. The Avengers starts Friday. What's next?
What's next? I go to Germany actually to make a little tiny sort of, this is from the sublime to the ridiculous, or the ridiculous to the sublime. I go to make a very small independent film about kind of the nature of love. It's a story between a man and a woman, and all the tenderness and complexity.
Looking for a co-star?
All right.
No,
Just asking.
Tilda Swinton is playing.
Oh,
my
I love her.
co-star. She's amazing.
He plays Loki. The movie is Marvel's The Avengers. It opens Friday. Remember this name, Tom Hiddleston. Thank you.
Thank
Give him
you
a big
very
round of
much.
applause here.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Thank you so
bravo.
much. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure was ours.